Hey folks, Justin from Tackle Tactics out on the water. As you probably know, we have had a lot of rain, the water is dirty and the bite is tough. So today we're going to talk to you about some of those 1%ers that can change your day when you're out on the water. Stay tuned. In the net, there you go. And there you go, that's what the little 1%ers can do. They can turn your day around with a fish like that. All right, a big long cast out there. We're out on a bit of rubble. So one of the first pieces of advice I can give you, one of those 1%ers when it has been raining and the water's dirty, is to try and find some clean water. So we're probably not going to find crystal clean water, but by getting out of the rivers and estuaries, so today we've come out of the river onto a bit of a rubble patch, looking for cleaner water. Back further up in the river, filthy brown, difficult for the fish to see the lure. It's hot, the water gets very warm and the fish sort of shut down. So first thing we want to do is find some cleanish water. So we've come out, the water is much cleaner out here, out of the river system. So that's my first tip to you. Where there's clean water, you'll often find more bait, more visibility, and the fish will bite more aggressively. So we've found some cleanish water out here that we're fishing. The next tip would be, I think, when the water is dirty, the easiest way to fish is with a plastic with a bit of action built into it. So something with a paddle tail or a curl tail is a great starting point, because that means you've got action in the water all the time. When the plastic's sinking, you've got action. When it's on the bottom, it's moving with the flow. Whenever you move the plastic, you've got action. And that action is going to also cause vibration in the water and attract the fish to the presentation. So in this case, we're keeping the presentation small because we're fishing a rubble patch. There might be brim, sweet lip, could be some snapper, that sort of thing here. So by keeping that presentation around the 2.5 inch, it's a good bite-sized snack for a variety of species. So we're fishing a 2.5 inch slim swims, 2.5 inch grubs on a 1/4 ounce 1/0 in a TT DemonZ Jighead. So those curl tails and those paddle tails, loads of action to attract those fish in the dirty water. Moses, little pinky, snapper and Moses perch. Yep, beautiful. Oh, that was lovely. That plastic was just swimming down. That's the other benefit of using a paddle tail or a curl tail in the dirty water, is that you've got that tail action as the plastic sinks. So as that plastic's swimming down to the bottom, that tail's working and fish will often pick it up on the drop. Or they'll do what that guy did. He tapped it on the bottom. So I gave it a couple more flicks, dropped it back down again, fish on. Oh, micro bloke this time. Little tiny snapper, but where there's smoke, there's fire. We'll get it back out there and see if we can find a bigger one. Oh, there we go. Nice one, pick that up off the bottom. So that's the cool thing, you don't always have to be retrieving the plastic. Give it that time on the bottom, give it that pause, let the fish eat it. This guy's got a bit of weight to him. Oh, turtles, a few turtles blowing up around us. Bit of weight in that one. That's on just on the 1 to 3 kilo gear. We're having a bit of fun on the shallow reefy stuff. This guy feels all right. Might be a nice snapper. Oh yeah, beautiful fish. Righto, I'm going to put the net under this guy, seeing we're fishing light. Just got that 10-pound leader. So that was a bit of a do-nothing retrieve on the bottom. That's the target species. Fishing a rubble patch, and that's a beautiful looking fish. Come on, buddy. Come out and give us a look at you. There you go. 2.5 inch slim swims, midnight oil, 1/4 ounce 1/0 in that DemonZ Jighead, and that's a nice little pinky has picked that up. So there we go. They're starting to get bigger. That's a nice little fun size snapper on the 1 to 3 kilo gear, fishing plackies. And we're putting those 1%ers together to get ourselves the bite. So we caught a few little guys and some Moses perch. Now we're stepping up a bit in size, and that's a nice fish. Great fun on that light gear. So another 1%er that we can add to our presentation to try and get that bite when the bite is tough is we can insert a glass rattle into our plastic. So as well as having the action of the plastic, we can use this ZMan Rattle-Snaker to insert a rattle inside the plastic. All right, so we've inserted the Rattle-Snaker into the plastic. In the back end of our Rattle-Snaker, we've got our glass rattles. We want to put the point end in first, and we use the Rattle-Snaker handle to push that plastic push that rattle inside the plastic. So there we go, our rattle is inside our 2.5-inch grubs, sitting nicely there in the back end. And so our Rattle-Snaker allows us to add a rattle to our plastic. So that'll stir up any fish that are down there. We give it a twitch, we're adding rattle as well as that action. Fish on. All right, right up on top of that bit of rubble that fish was. That feels a bit better actually, that one. That's on the curl tail this time. So that nice 2.5-inch grubs fluttering down on the drop. This fish has picked it up. That water's getting dirtier. We can see that water stirring up a bit there. So we're picking the clean pockets. Patch of rock. Colour's so important when the water's dirty, and the colour that we've got on here is called dirty oil. So if you're looking one for dirty water, dirty oil. So it's basically a motor oil coloured plastic with a black fleck through it. So the black fleck kind of deadens the plastic, gives it a better silhouette, but it's still got that UV pop. That's a nice snapper. Here it comes. Look at that beautiful fish. That's on a 2.5-inch grubs. Dirty oil colour. Got to get this net out of here. Got a bit of chaos. Let's get that fish up in the net. Beautiful. There we go. Have a look at that. Beautiful snapper. Right, as we quite often do, you'll see that one there. So he's a messy eater. He's missed the mouth, but that Gamakatsu hook, he's come in to eat that. He's missed it, but that Gamakatsu hook on that TT DemonZ Jighead has found its mark, and that's a beautiful pinky, real nice snapper out of shallow water. So there we go. That's a beautiful fish, and those 1%ers getting us the bite. So plenty of action in that tail. We've got that scent on there, that rattle in there, the right colour for dirty water, and we've found some cleaner patches to fish. So we've done everything we can do to put ourselves in a position to catch that fish. Beautiful. All right, it's no secret that I like to put scent on my soft plastics and other lures, and ProCure Super Gel is my go-to because it stays on there really well. It's a gel-based scent, and it's got all of that scientific stuff in there, so amino acids, bite stimulants, UV enhancements, but it's also got real ground bait in there as well in that gel formula. So it stays on really well, and we can use those different flavors to match the plastics we're fishing, the area that we're fishing, and also the bait that's in the area. So I carry a few different flavors with me generally. Saltwater yabby nipper is great for fishing around yabby beds and broken weed beds near yabby patches and that sort of thing, especially when I'm fishing ZMan prawns and those prawn or shrimp imitations. And shrimp is also a great flavor when you're doing that sort of fishing. Mullet and sardine pilchard are a couple of my favorites because where I fish, there's a lot of bait fish in the system. So if there's bait fish around, especially if I'm fishing a bait fish imitation like a paddle tail, it'll be on with the mullet or the sardine pilchard. So check those guys out. There's a stack of different flavors to match whatever type of fishing you're doing. Even if you're getting into that freshwater fishing as well, there's a scent there for you. So check that out. ProCure Super Gel. Put a bit of that on. That's one of those 1%ers that can make the difference on the day. All right, we're looking at those 1%ers today, those little changes that we can make to try and fire up the bite when the bite's tough. But it's also important not to forget the basics, structure and bait. Structure and bait are often the two keys to finding fish. So whether you've got an active bite or a tough bite, remember the key thing we want to look for what is the best structure in the area that will hold fish and how we're going to approach that, and what is there bait available to us. So structure might be our first point of call. Start looking at what structure is available. Structure attracts bait, it attracts fish, it provides ambush points, and then that bait is what the fish are there for. They're there to feed on the bait. So we've been using the sounder to locate some rubble, and then there's a lot of spread out rubble, but we're looking for that rubble that's holding bait, and that's been where we found the bites today. So fishing dirty water, we're still thinking of structure, we're thinking of bait, but we're adding those 1%ers so that we can get the bite. Oh, give me a bit of stick. Come on, fish. On the curl tail this time. Again, plastic with a lot of action. One of the keys, plastic with action. Scented up. And a little snapper. There you go. That's the 2.5-inch curl tail. And as we were talking about, colour is so important when the water's dirty. So that's called a dirty oil colour in the 2.5-inch grubs. So it's basically a motor oil colour with a black fleck through it. So that gives it a real good silhouette in the water, as well as that UV pop. There you go, little pinky. See you, buddy. Okay, one of the 1%ers for me when fishing dirty water is fishing a plastic that's got lots of action in the tail. So a couple of favourites when we're prospecting the river and estuary are the 2.5-inch SwimZ and the 2.5-inch GrubZ. So a paddle tail and a curl tail. So that's our paddle tail there, our curl tail there. Both of those, plenty of action on the sink, plenty of action when they're sitting on the bottom, naturally buoyant, so they're tail up. And every time we twitch or move that plastic, we've got that action that attracts fish and triggers strikes. So not only is it action, it's also vibration. And in the dirty water, that vibration and movement in the water helps the fish find your plastic so they can eat it. All right, that feels a little bit better, that one. That's on that 1 to 3 kilo gear still, so good fun. We're putting everything together. We're putting those 1%ers together to give us a chance of catching a better fish or getting that bite when the bite is tough. So we're running a plastic with action. So we've got our curl tails and paddle tails that we're fishing. Action in the plastic. We've put that rattle in there, secret squirrel. So we've got our Rattle-Snaker, the ZMan Rattle-Snaker, and put a glass rattle in there for sound as well. So we've got the action, we've got the sound, we've sent it up. So we've got that scent in there to help us as well. Our colour choice, we've taken note of as well. So we're fishing UV colours today to make the most of that sun penetration into the dirty water. So UV colours. And the other thing we've done is we've looked for some cleaner water. So we've come out of the river and we've found a rubble patch and we're fishing a bit cleaner water. And we've been rewarded for putting those pieces of the puzzle together. And we've got ourselves a nice pinky. So that's a good looking snapper. Great fun on 1 to 3 kilo gear. Come on, buddy. Up you come, up you come, up you come. In the net, there you go. So that is amazing. You know, the bite, it's been a tough bite. We've had a lot of rain. A lot of people out there telling me, mate, the bite is tough. The bite is tough. It's been raining, the water's dirty. And there you go. That's what the little 1%ers can do. They can turn your day around with a fish like that. So there you go. We picked our way through those smaller fish to get to this beautiful fish here. Those 1%ers, they're things that can make a difference when you're out there chasing a fish. The water's dirty, we've had a lot of rain. What's going to get us the fish? We chose a plastic with action. We added that rattle to it. We added scent. We've looked for some cleaner water. We've picked a UV colour that's going to pop when we're out there fishing in that midnight oil colour. And that's our quarter 10 DemonZ with that 2.5-inch SwimZ in midnight oil colour. It's been such a great presentation for us. So there you go. Hopefully there's a few tips in there that can get you out and get you stuck into a few fish even when the bite is tough. Fish on.